very much for the meeting that we had in my office. I found it very helpful. In that meeting, I mentioned 4 separate threats to the NRC's capability and independence. One is direct political interference and influence by the White House, which would give, potential big nuclear developers a way to speed around traditional safety reviews if the NRC yielded to that influence. The second is the erosion of the firewall between Department of Energy and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which was the very basis for the founding of the NRC. And I see what looks like a very distinct old-fashioned bureaucratic turf power grab by the Department of Energy to try to intrude into and to some degree even take over the NRC. The third is the brain drain that both the chairman and I have mentioned as the staff exodus has taken place. And the fourth is the intrusion of people who seem to have much more loyalty to the fossil fuel industry than to the nuclear industry, and may be in a position to handicap the development of nuclear power because every nuclear electron that comes online likely displaces a fossil fuel electron. And we've seen that already take place in my state with an offshore wind project. So those are 4, I think, very real risks that you face. Tell me how you would respond to those risks as an NRC commissioner.
Thank you, Senator, and I thank you for taking the time to meet with me within the past few weeks. I'm committed to having the NRC make independent regulatory decisions. I am not seeking to come back to the NRC to tear down the organization that's done so much for me. As I mentioned in response to Chairman Capito's question, I will select staff who also believe that having independence is a key part of their function, period. This is a non-negotiable. And you mentioned in your opening statement that it's short-sighted, my word, to take shortcuts on safety because ultimately it will cause failure in the industry. I believe that nuclear power is a good thing for the United States if it's done safely. It helps make our country stronger and cleaner, but it has to be done safely.
Will you also take a good hard look at the ongoing regulatory revisions, which are happening without real transparency in the context of a brain drain where much of the internal capability of reviewing those revisions is lost, and at the hands of people who may have mischievous interests? I think that they merit a good close look. Will you promise me to give that a good close look once you get there?
Yes, Senator, absolutely. These rulemakings will be complex, and it's the first thing that's on my mind, other than hiring permanent staff in leadership positions, is looking at those rulemakings.
Thank you. Mr. Beeman, the Office of Congressional Ethics found, and I quote them, substantial reason to believe that Representative Andy Ogle's campaign accepted illegally large donations and then falsely reported them as personal funds from Ogle's. Ogle's is your tenant, correct? And you were his campaign manager from April 2022 to August of 2022?
No, I was his campaign treasurer for 4 months.
From April of 2022 to August of 2022 during the period of that campaign. Okay. I don't have time now, but I'm going to ask you questions for the record on this. You promise to answer them fully and truthfully?
Sure.
You also have another reported tenant at your home, a pastor named Steve Berger, is that correct?
Yes.
And is he here with you today?
He is.
He has evidently stated about LGBT individuals, about our gay community, that he would, and I'm offering a quote here, take a baseball bat and beat the hell out of every single one of them. End quote.
I've never heard him say
Response to that.
I've never heard him say that.
You never heard him say that? Are you aware that he said that?
I was not until I read that in briefings for this meeting.
Okay. What is your view with respect to what's his role? Why is he here? Why is he your tenant? Are you prepared to distance yourself from views of that sort of a disgracefully violent nature?
He is my pastor. He married my wife and me. He's been a friend of mine for many, many years, and I've never heard him express those type sentiments other than loving every member of the community and of all of God's children.
Madam Chair, I have a letter in opposition to Mr. Beeman's nomination from Congressman Steve Cohen. I'd like to ask that be added to the record.
Without
as well
objection.
as the articles. Thank you.
Without objection.